If you guys are trying to take your training to the next level and you want to increase your speed, your power, your conditioning, then you got to check out Phil Daru's 8-week heavy hitter boxing program. I'm telling you guys right now, there's no joke.
Hi, it's Minnie. You're watching Don Shea Boxing Nation.
2020, huh? Boy, the hits just keep coming, boy, I tell you. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Now, first things first, had to take a day off. Had to drive to Bangkok to go to the U.S. Embassy. I actually just had a daughter out here, so I had to take her down there to take care of her Social Security information and all of her U.S. documents. So now that I started that process, I can get back to business. So let's get into it. So the WBC creates a new belt, and it's the Black Lives Matter belt. Now the WBC, they're calling it the Frontline belt. But as you can see on the belt, Black Lives Matter is plastered all over it. So it's really the Black Lives Matter belt. Let me just start by saying this. Now, if the WBC's president, Mauricio Solomon, if he had issued statements in support of Black Lives Matter previously, right? Like many fighters have. Many fighters that are not even black. Fighters like Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, Oscar De La Hoya. They've been supporting Black Lives Matter. They've been supporting justice for people like George Floyd and other black people that lost their lives due to racism. If Mauricio would have did the same thing, then this wouldn't have came off as offensive as it looks like it's designed to be. You've never spoke on a matter, but then you put Black Lives Matter on a belt that has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter other than the fact that there's two black guys fighting. Mauricio Solomon is making a mockery of the situation. I mean, it's almost as if the conversation of even putting this on a belt started off as a joke, where maybe Mauricio was talking to some of his friends, and one of his friends said, you know, it'd be really funny if you put Black Lives Matter on the belt. I mean, you got two black guys fighting against each other, right? And Mauricio said, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. It's funny as hell, but it's not a bad idea. So this belt was created for the exhibition bout between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. I'm gonna tell you guys something right now. Mauricio Solomon, the WBC president, is completely out of control. He is completely out of control. I mean, it's just so ironic to me that after Devin Haney, for example, after he played by the rules, he became Lomachenko's #1 mandatory. And Lomachenko, who has always fought his mandatories right away, he's never hesitated to fight his mandatories. Once Devin becomes his mandatory, he decides he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney, so he vacates the belt. And then Mauricio Solomon of the WBC, he says this.
And how did you choose Lomachenko? Because I did not choose him. He requested, Canelo requested. So we sent out a vote and we analyzed his history.
Ooh, Canelo and Lomachenko requested?
Absolutely.
Ooh, you just made headlines.
Lomachenko.
You just made headlines.
Lomachenko, top rank, requested. And let me tell you, we analyzed the request. Two-time Olympic champions. Two-time Olympic, 2 cycles Olympic champion. Champion in 3 different weight categories. And nobody can doubt he's in the top of the top of the top.
Define the franchise belt. Can you define it?
The franchise is not a belt. It's not a championship. It's a designation given to elite, unique fighters who carry the industry of the sport of boxing. Canelo Alvarez and Lomachenko are 2 sensational fighters who carry the industry. There are 2 fighters who move up in weight, up and down in weight, and who are facing the best opposition as possible. So this is a new concept. It's going to take some time for it to be understood. In the meantime, I will take all the blame and all the punches.
Okay, so you heard what Mauricio Solomon said out of his own mouth right there. And I don't think I told you guys, but once Loma vacated the belt to avoid his mandatory, that's when Devin Haney became the new WBC champion. So in a way, Lomachenko, he surrendered his belt to Devin Haney rather than fighting for it to keep it. So after the WBC crowns Devin Haney as the new WBC champion, a week before the Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez fight, then out of nowhere, the WBC president, he comes out and he says, this franchise belt that Loma has, that makes him the real WBC champion. Let me quote what he said. Lomachenko is the WBC lightweight champion. He won and petitioned for the franchise designation. The franchise is put above any champion in the lightweight category. So Lomachenko is in fact champion with special attributes. After this man just told everyone that this is not even a championship, it's not a belt, but now since Lomachenko and Teo are fighting for the belt, now he says it's a real belt and it's put above any champion in the lightweight category. So while the real champion, the real WBC champion, Devin Haney, has to put in all of the real hard work by doing what a champion is supposed to do, which is defending his title against number one contenders, top 10 contenders, Mauricio Solomon is telling the public that whoever has this franchise status is the real WBC champion, and they're above anyone else in the division. Do you see the level of disrespect? You see how they just completely disrespected Devin Haney? And then they come out with a belt talking about Black Lives Matter? Speaking of disrespect, they did the same thing to Jermall Charlo. When Canelo Alvarez requested for this franchise status, Jermall Charlo did not let Canelo off the hook. Jermall said, okay, well, I want to fight for the franchise belt then. You know what the WBC president told Jermall Charlo? He said, oh, that belt is not transferable. Meaning there's no way you're going to get a shot at Canelo Alvarez. But now once Loma is fighting against Teofimo Lopez and there's no more fighters on the coincidental list involved, now the belt is transferable because the belt was just transferred over to Teofimo Lopez. I'm telling you guys right now, the WBC is going to drive this sport of boxing into the ground. I mean, they've already started the process. And because the WBC has the same agenda that old media has, the majority of people in boxing are completely okay with all of the corruption in the sport of boxing, as long as it favors the fighters on the hope list. And the reason why I say the majority of boxing fans, because believe it or not, the majority of boxing fans are not black. I mean, don't get it twisted just because you see a whole bunch of dominant black fighters in the sport. But speaking of old media and a lot of boxing fans being okay with the corruption, it's funny because I remember when Al Heyman first emerged, when he first popped onto the scene, and I was around a lot of the media members out there in Las Vegas, and you guys would be amazed how bad they were talking about Al Heyman before he put on his very first press conference. You remember the big press conference he did where he was basically announcing all the fighters that were going to fight that year, where you had all the stars standing on the stage at the same time? I remember we were at the Floyd Mayweather gym because there was something going on at the Mayweather gym and all the media was there. And you had all these media members that were talking so bad, saying, oh man, I don't like the way they scheduled this press conference. This guy's going to destroy the sport the way he's acting, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they were complaining about a press conference and the schedule of the press conference, how it was set up. But yet none of these people have complained about what the WBC is doing. And that's my whole point. And I'm sure you guys can remember what a Golden Boy staff member called Al Heyman. He called him the N-word and a black Hitler in an email that he was sending to some other Golden Boy staff member. But yet the WBC is free to run as wild and as crazy as they want. This is only the beginning, guys. I predict even more crazy stuff is going to start coming out. That's all I got for now, and I'm on to the next one. What's going on, guys? You know, I've always wanted to find a second source of income. And I've always wanted to learn about stocks and trades because I've heard so much good stuff about it. So I finally found a way to do it. And now I'm learning from 6, 7, 8-figure traders. So not only am I learning from them, but the most important thing is I get to copy their trade. So I get to earn while I learn. Now, if you want the full details, click on the link below so you can learn while you copy and paste their trades. And just understand this, guys, just by watching the video, you're doing a great job of supporting my channel, and I appreciate it. And the craziest thing about doing this trading is you can do it anywhere. All you need is an internet connection, and you can do it just with your phone. So if you want to learn how to make a second income alongside me without having to pitch, sell, or recruit, go ahead and click on the link below, and I'll see you inside.